Welcome to Moose Plays, everyone. I'm the Liquor Moose, and today we are going to be talking about some transactions that our team made for the 8th season of the GPC. So the way the transactions worked for this season is there was a randomized order, just like the actual draft itself, and then starting at the top, it just snaked its way through 3 times, and then people could make transactions as required, or as I guess desired. So basically, things that count as transactions were dropping and picking up Pokemon, trading Pokemon with another player, or reassigning Z captains. Going over what the Toronto Race release changed. Clearly, when you look at my draft, I was very special based. So I wanted to go with get a bigger physical presence, and to do that we needed to pick up some heavy sweepers and wall breakers. So I mean, I guess I'll just reveal to you guys the overall changes, as the order of them didn't really matter. So we ended up dropping 3 Pokemon and picking up 2. I know that brings us to 10 total Pokemon, but I am perfectly fine with 10 Pokemon. As when I drafted, I was okay. Like 10 to 11 was the area I was aiming for. So I'm okay with 10. And basically, the changes we made, we ended up dropping Kommo-o, Magmortar, and Gourgeist, and we ended up picking up Haxorus and Darmanitan. Now, as to why, I'll start with, another transaction that was made was I made Haxorus a Z captain. As that's part of important. Words, Jesus. As that was of great importance during the transactions. So anyways, the reason, let's start with the reason I dropped the Pokemon. Starting with Kommo-o, as you could at least tell in my draft analysis, that I was really excited to use Kommo-o, and believe me, I tried. I tried in 2 of 3 matches so far. I've just tried to put in Kommo-o, and it was just, the only word I can describe with it was just awkward. It has really good coverage to have mixed sets, I don't give it that, but the thing is, it doesn't hit hard enough. It doesn't hit hard enough without a setup of some kind. And with that in mind, finding times to set up would often prove difficult, I'll be completely honest. And then the other optimal thing was actually 85 speed tier. Actually pretty decent for a Scarf speed, but if you just give it a Scarf, then it just doesn't hit that hard. So like overall it just was really awkward, and I didn't really like building with it per se. I still think it had potential, but just Kommo-o didn't really fit how I wanted to play, especially because since Kommo-o is such like a bulky offensive Pokemon, and I'm not that big a fan of bulky offense. But anyways, that's another. We'll get to that when I get into the Pokemon I picked up. But yeah, the other Pokemon I dropped, Magmortar. Unlike Kommo-o, I actually found a couple matchups where Magmortar did actually fit in very well. I think it still fit in very well week 1 against Christian. It was just that clearly the ground weakness was there, and I needed something else in its place. I still think it had its place in both my week 2 and week 3 matches as well. It was just like sometimes like it wasn't really its coverage, but like the coverage it did get just wasn't the greatest for the matchups at the time. And the 125 special attack is good and all, but again, I wanted to make my team more physically based as opposed to specially. I honestly would not be opposed to drafting Magmortar again and giving it a second try. It actually seems like a very good budget fire type Pokemon, so for now, we drop it, but maybe consider it some other time. And the last one, Gourgeist. This was probably the most like arguable of the drops. Gourgeist, I always found it useful in the matches that I've had so far. It was just always my other, like the people helping me out building teams, they said that Gourgeist just doesn't fit the team. They just didn't like it. I think Gourgeist actually fits perfectly in my style, just unfortunately it didn't work out. And yes, I know I don't have a ghost type anymore, and I also That also means that Whimsicott will be carrying double duty on the Grass type in the Fire Water Grass core and the Fairy in the Fairy Dragon Steel core. Not that that always matters, but I mean it is something of note. But anyways, yeah, those are the 3 we dropped. Now, getting into the stuff that I picked up, Haxorus. Straight up, every Pokemon draft player will tell you this. It is not how good the individual Pokemon is, it is how comfortable you are using the Pokemon. And I am very, very comfortable using Haxorus. As a setup mon, I think it has... excuse me. As a setup mon, I think it has much more opportunities to set up than Komodo does, as it doesn't have a 4x weakness, and it also forces a lot more switches. That was the other thing about Komodo. Like, a big part about being able to set up is being able to force switches. Like, when Haxorus comes out, there's still that opportunity that it could just attack you and kill whatever's in front of it. Komodo didn't always do that without a boost, but Haxorus is able to do that, which gives it much more opportunity to set up. And again, like, being comfortable with the Pokemon is absolutely more valuable than just, like, the overall power level of the Pokemon itself. I just recently finished a season with Haxorus, and it ended up being the... it might not have been the kill leader on my team. I don't know. It was either it or Megalopony. I didn't keep track. But it was definitely up there in the MVP race. It was definitely the playoff MVP. And yeah, again, it was a Z user in that league as well. So having it be a Z user in this league will definitely ensure that I know what I'm doing with this Pokemon. And yeah, I'm really glad to see Galactus, which will be Haxorus' nickname. I'm really glad to see that Galactus will be back on my squad, and I can't wait to use it. Now, as far as Darmanitan goes, I don't really have that much experience. I don't really have that much experience with Darmanitan itself. However, I do feel like it does fit into my playstyle a little bit better, where even though I do like balance, I also am a big fan of pivot-heavy teams. And like Haxorus, Darmanitan forces a lot of switches, where in the case where I do attack what's in front of me, I'm more than likely going to kill it. But there's also the option that because it's going to force the switch, I can just U-turn and then get me into whatever I need for the situation. So yeah, I feel like Darmanitan definitely fits into the wheelhouse of the pivot-heavy aspect of the team, as I already do have a lot of pivot-heavy Pokemon. Like I have a U-turn on Landorus, full switch on Manectric, U-turn on Whimsicott, U-turn on Uxie. Like I am most certainly a pivot heavy team, excuse me, and which is a style that I like. Maybe a little more walls would be necessary for my liking, which we'll get into pretty much right now. Other than the fact that I want to say that Darmanitan's nickname will be Winston. But yeah. If you watch my channel for long enough, you know that this team has straight up developed into not balance, which, again, if you've been with me for a while, you know that my favorite playstyle is by far balance. I think it's the way that Pokemon was basically intended to play, in my opinion, or at least competitive Pokemon, and it's just I think it's just a lot of fun to play balance, and it's just in my wheelhouse of how I want to play. So, very clearly, this is not... very clearly, this is not balance anymore. We're just straight up an offensive team, which is fine because I'm gonna try. This is probably gonna be a weird analogy to some people, but I'm going to be trying to think about this like how I play Magic: The Gathering. I know, again, weird reference, but hear me out. A lot of players in Magic are like they only play one play style. They're either like they only play control, they only play aggro, they only play mid range, they only play combo or tempo, whatever. I am not like that in Magic. I can pretty much just pick a deck, however, like, whatever I feel like playing for the week at Friday Night Magic. I can pick it up and bring back a respectable record with it. I'm basically just going to have to show that I can do that in Pokemon as well. Big part of that will definitely be knowing which Pokemon to sack at what correct time. I think I still proved that pretty well in... last week's match against Carson. I think I made correct decisions on when to sack what Pokemon. It was just unfortunately RNG was not in my favor. But anyways, yeah, those were the transactions we made. And yeah, I'm really excited about those transactions, and I'm just really excited to use them. Another note though, unfortunately, because the transaction period took a little longer than the players would have liked, The admins of the league have decided that this week will actually be a break week, as it went a little bit further into the week than we would like to, so no GPC upload this upcoming Saturday or Sunday. I will definitely be putting something on the channel on more than likely this Saturday, just to kind of fill the channel in the time. But yeah, so keep your eye on the channel for that, and yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.